And if you look at why we're doing this litigation, it's to fix the problem. And we have repeatedly wanted to work with the city and trying to set up a schedule where we say, and I don't think anyone disputes, our sewer systems are outdated. They haven't been repaired. The upkeep just hasn't been there. And so we'd like to create a schedule where we say, here's what we're going to do to try and fix the problems. And here's the schedule, and lay it out, and hopefully we can settle this thing and avoid going to the courts, because nobody benefits except the lawyers, of course. But it is sort of mildly perplexing that we haven't gone down that route yet, and we still hope that we'll be there eventually. But
I'd say it's very disappointing, because that's a sensible route to go down. I don't think coming into the legislature with a bill to try to cut the legs off from the lawsuit, from under the lawsuit, is really the way to do it. And also, I was wondering whether or not, even if this bill went through, if it would be legal under federal law.
I strongly believe it won't be, and the reason why is, again, we create these state water quality standards for compliance to the federal Clean Water Act, and that statute explicitly states the EPA has to approve any changes to the state water quality standards. And under the federal regulations, there's certain things you have to do. For example, one of the things you need to do is you need to put out the scientific evidence justifying the change to the public before the hearing, which we have no scientific evidence here. And secondly,
we have no public hearings on it.
Well, we have had, at least in the legislature, before committees, we have had a public hearing.
But I'll make you a bet that the majority of the viewers weren't aware that something like this was coming before us. Unfortunately, the hearing apparatus at the Capitol gives you like about 48 hours notice. Then you have to deal with it, and many people can't just leave their jobs and come down.
That's quite true.
Even if they've read the hearing notice.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. With the whether or not it would comply with federal law.
I think ultimately EPA would have to decide whether to accept this or not. And one of the other things that they look at is, was there a factual record created? And here, arguably the legislature could say, we factually found, for instance, that nobody goes and uses the water past 500 meters.
Oh. And the other thing that really troubles me, we as legislators are not scientists.
Yeah.
And why would we have the knowledge or the background to be able to say, oh no, this water quality standard can be changed and we can provide less protection, and the 500-meter situation? I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
People, that we should at least know, is it doesn't it lacks all it's boggling, mind-boggling.
Well, again, I mean, the way we set up our government is the legislature is supposed to be the policy body that decides policy.
But not science.
Correct. Yeah, the scientific standards are supposed to be done through the administration. And here, unfortunately, Department of Health has just thrown up its hand and said, we can't do it, we don't have the resources, or whatever the reason is. And so they basically have refused to act in an expeditious manner. And it's unfortunate. But I don't think the remedy is to now make the legislators become the scientists or become the experts in the field, because there's very few toxicologists, for example, in the state of Hawaii, and so to expect that we would have that level of expertise, or you would have that level of expertise, is asking a lot, and it's unfortunate.
Well, it bothers me very much, and I would hope that viewers who are out there that are concerned about water quality standards would take a look at House Bill 834, and if you're concerned that we as legislators don't have the expertise, nor should we reduce the water quality standards for our islands, call your legislator and say, stop House Bill 834. It really takes the public weighing in to make a change over here, to make sure that this doesn't happen, because this came in, the mayor came in and testified for it. And said we need it, and it wasn't, the mayor's testimony wasn't based upon science. The mayor's testimony was that, well, it'll cost too much to keep our waters clean.
Yeah. And
I feel the opposite way. It will cost too much if we don't keep our waters clean.
I think that's a wonderful point, and I agree. Again, the effects on the economy just for one bad news story would be catastrophic. And again, when I say bad news story, somebody getting ill because of pesticide, or I recently read a report where one of the Pro Bowl players went back and came down with a case of E. coli, and they weren't exactly sure if it came from Hawaii or if it when he went back to Colorado. But I mean, that type of news story could be devastating, and you know, I'm sure it's what keeps people at the Hawaii Tourism Authority up at night is worrying about that kind of situation happening.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. Well, I'm so grateful for the Sierra Club, and so grateful that you come to the hearings and you give such well thought out, well researched, well documented testimony, and it's what helps us learn. Unfortunately, with this bill, it went through anyway, but you know, you've got this huge weight of the city pressure saying move the bill forward, and I think it's a very, very big mistake. I would hope people call in, stop the bill, keep our water quality standards protected, and don't just let the city off the hook on this.
I think that's exactly the right point, and I do hope people call in and call your representative and call your senator and ask them to stop this process. And again, I'd just like to point out, you know, there are sort of two reasons. There's litigation,
right,
and there's the waiver decision by the EPA to require secondary treatment. And we haven't really gone into this before, but one example, if you really fix some of your sewage treatment, not so much treatment, but the catchment systems, sort of allowing where the water comes from and start trying to reduce pesticides at the source, you probably have a better argument to the EPA to say we don't need to do secondary treatment because we've stopped a lot of pesticides even getting into the system.
But they haven't even taken that step.
No. And again, that was the point of litigation, is if we could come up with a settlement saying here are the things you could do to make the wastewater treatment, you know, better throughout the whole system, you know, it could even help out the city with its arguments with the EPA. And it's just unfortunate we've never gone down that road yet.
You know, that's too bad. That's too bad. Sometimes people just get this tunnel vision, and in this case, it's going to jeopardize the cleanliness of our waters. Well, I want to thank the viewers for watching this show, and I hope that you've learned from this. I know I have, from Robert Harris, director of the Sierra Club, and I do applaud the organization so much for being such a strong advocate for our environment at the Capitol. I rely upon your testimony. I rely upon those memos you slip under our doors, and I'm looking for one. And I hope the viewers will weigh in and keep our waters clean and safe for all of the people that use them for recreational and fishing purposes. Aloha to all the viewers, and Robert, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Appreciate it.